Starting in middle school, I started experimenting with drugs and alcohol. I always had this intense curiosity about it.
The first time I used, I was 11 years old. My older sister was experimenting and starting to sneak out. I kind of wanted to be like her.
I started experiencing drugs when I was 12, and it was all just to be more grown up to impress boys. Shortly later, I got shot up with meth for my first time.
I'd continue to use it because I'm hanging around with friends and I'm not going to look like a bitch in front of them and not use,
I just could sit in one spot and just sit there and stare at like the wall for hours. Slowly just started progressing up to I just started smoking every single day, and I had to have it.
I started getting depressed and getting into a lot of trouble.
Like, I was stuck. I have nowhere to go. Nowhere.
Quickly turned to, well, since I already ruined my life, I might as well use. It's kind of like a I give up, I really don't care now feeling.
What does that say about us as a community and a society when we decide a 15-year-old is throwaway? That we just don't have the time to bother. They're too much of a problem, they're a punk kid, they got foul mouths, they're disrespectful. I'm just not going to waste any time on them or any of our resources. What's that say about us when we do that to children?
I turned, I was like 13. I was in seventh grade or sixth grade, and I started hanging out with a different crowd, and they started talking about pot and whatnot, and I was kind of interested in it. I was like, what does that do and all this stuff, and they would be smoking, and then finally, like one day, after like a month into school, he's like, Bryce, don't you just take a hit? I was like, no, I'm good. I was like, come on, Bryce. All right, just one hit. And so I'd just take one and then go to school, go home. Then the next morning I'd take another hit, go home. Next morning I'd take two. I saw it increasing, and then my friends would be like, Bryce, you're smoking a lot. Like, it seems like you're addicted to this. You're addicted to this stuff. I'd agree with like, yeah, I'm addicted. I like it. It's fun. I would say I was addicted, but I wouldn't do anything about it. I don't know what switched to something in my brain that just triggered and just, you gotta have this, you have to have this to be normal. And if I didn't have it, like for one day, then I would just like, all day I would just think about it. I need to get some, I need to get some more, I need to get some more.
Kids introduce themselves to drugs for a variety of reasons. Peer pressure, my brother did it, I had a good day, I had a bad day. It doesn't really matter. It's part of our culture, and at some point you're going to be exposed to it.
Addiction isn't a personal choice. It's not like I say, okay, maybe I do initially make the choice to take a hit of marijuana or drink that first glass of booze, but then again, most people make that choice. I don't want to make an overgeneralization, but it seems like most people in college or somewhere along the line make that choice for the first time. But it affects certain people and not others. You make that choice, but you can't just make the same choice to put it away. It doesn't matter who you are or where you came from. It's a physical allergy that some people have to drugs and alcohol.
Alcoholism, drug addiction is a primary illness in and of itself. It's not caused by a bad childhood. It's not caused by a traumatic episode. It is in and of itself its own illness, characterized by increases in tolerance and loss of control over use.
The child with an addiction has really developed a serious brain disease. They have to have the drug. They do anything they can to get the drug. That repetitive craving, that need to get this drug, it takes over and totally dominates.
The need for the drug was incredible. I couldn't get up and go do anything. I couldn't deal with the day without using, because that's all my body can live on right then. That's all I needed. That's all I wanted. that it was unlike anything else that I've had to have.
We're discovering more and more every day about the development of an adolescent brain. And the truth is, physically, they're just not able to manage the intoxicants in the same level as an adult does.
These are diseases. They're not lack of willpower, they're not choice. You just can't finger people and say you're bad, you should change, and so forth. You really have to help them do this.
Adolescence is an important time of social and emotional development. And if you're introducing substances that alter how I feel, then how I behave and respond to those feelings change. So what am I not learning about how to handle stress? What am I not learning about how to handle, I was not very nice to that person and I feel bad about that. Maybe I ought not do that anymore. Well, I don't feel bad. I don't feel anything. So I don't learn those life lessons that are really critical to our development in adolescence and how we engage society as an adult.
I used to be a bad kid and just scream at my mom, lie to her, steal her, steal money and go out late, don't even come at night, and sometimes I would just come home hella high or drunk, don't give a crap.
Adolescence is a time of rapid change. If you lose that because they're addicted and they're just not functioning normally, they're not taking much of that in, they've changed their friends, they've failed in school, they've failed at work, whatever they're doing, their lives have changed radically. You have to rebuild some of that. It's really more than rehabilitation, it's kind of retraining and going back and correcting deficits that occurred because of the drug use.
If I didn't get caught, I think I'd be in the streets right now. I'd be that person that they didn't want to be.
This is a lot more complicated than just not drinking or smoking pot or taking Oxycontin anymore. Kids face a tremendous problem. I treat an adult, I can tell the adult to not go back to the corner bar. I can tell them not to bring alcohol into their house. I can tell them to stay away from the drug house. Kids, we sign them up and send them right back to the dope house. We send them to school.
The day I was supposed to come home, I was very nervous. I kind of didn't even want to come home. I was scared. I didn't know what to do and how I was actually going to stay sober, especially in the environment I lived in, the friends I had. And I didn't really want to make anybody mad.
There's not a public school, particularly high school in this country, that doesn't have alcohols and drugs in it. And we're sending kids back there. So we've really got to reinforce with them the need to do what they need to do to stay sober. We've got to be able to engage these kids in services, hook them up with the right peer groups, hook them up with supportive services inside of the school so they've got a safe place to go. Make it okay to be sober.
That may be the most important part of this with what we know now, is our ability to provide those supports. It's called recovery management. And it's very interesting that just in recent years, it's come to the fore as often the critical missing piece in how you manage the disease. So a community that can provide that sort of long-term support, long-term commitment, will be much more successful than a community that doesn't have that available.
Once you go through that process and going to treatment, when you get back is the most crucial point. Once you get back into that old environment that you used to be in, you do need a lot of support.
A huge challenge in a place like Walla Walla is that there aren't a whole lot of young people in sobriety. And so I definitely felt alone on my own in that regard as well.
I want to stay sober. I want to actually live a happy life. I don't know, it'd be nice to have a support, like a young kid kids support group, like 20 to 25 or something. Have a group, because that's what I miss. Like, just having a group of young people to be able to talk to and relate to their stories.
Me clean, I definitely feel like I can conquer anything, I can do anything, I can grow with myself and with other people. I want to accomplish something, and so I want to find somebody who understands still. When you get two people that are clean together, it's really nice to be able to help each other, because sometimes it's kind of like stairs. You're on different stairs at different times. Somebody might be having a bad day and you can be there for them, but then when you have a bad day, you got all these people around for you.
I feel normal. I feel like I could be myself again. Just a little, you know. And it's like sometimes I have the rough days, you know, but I stand tall and keep my head up.
What we do is only as strong as the services that people go back to. It's money well spent. You spend a little bit of time getting that child engaged in a healthy, sober lifestyle, and they turn their lives around and become productive adults. Or we can ignore them, kick them to the curb, let them start using again, and deal with them in jail. Your choice.